guys, it's me, Nikki. Hello. Today's video is very near and dear to my heart and will pack a lot of emotion on my side. Ever since I came out back in January and got bombarded with your love and acceptance and just I got welcomed into the rainbow family like no other. I can already feel the tears coming. A lot of people out there were like, oh my God, can you please do a facial feminization makeup tutorial? Now, what that means if you're a trans person and you wanna look more feminine, what are like the perfect techniques to nail down that look? And for the longest time, I'm gonna say I wasn't ready for it. I wasn't ready to openly speak about my past like that. And over the last few months, I've really started to love myself in such a different way, and you guys have noticed. You guys leave it down in the comments in so many videos how you see my self-acceptance growing, how you see my self-love coming back. For today's video, I feel like I'm finally ready to sit down and tell you techniques and ways to make your face look more feminine. Now, this comes with a huge disclaimer. I think it is disgusting that we live in a world where only if you look cis, where you look like a biological woman, you get to pass as a trans person. That is unacceptable, and I'm still fighting for that every single day. But this video isn't for society. This video isn't to please others. This is a video for anybody out there to find new techniques to alter your look, because at the end of the day, that's what makeup is for. In my opinion, makeup is here to make us feel powerful, strong, confident. It isn't a layer of paint to hide ourselves or to pass for society. No, it is for us. So before I start off with this tutorial, I want to say that you are beautiful. Look at yourself in the mirror and tell yourself that you are beautiful. And yes, it is fun to play with makeup. And yes, it is fun to alter certain features of your face, but at the end of the day, makeup washes off and you have to love yourself before you put anything on. Also, please don't think that if you're a biological woman, a biological man who's not even interested in makeup, this video is for everybody who just wants to learn new techniques and have fun with makeup. So if you're excited, let's go ahead, grab the brushes, grab the makeup, and let's get painted. Before we get started with all this makeup fun, I do want you to know that later on in this video, I'll be teaming up with KVD Vegan Beauty to complete my brows, as well as some tricks for the eyes, so know that that is coming. KVD Vegan Beauty is a new brand that relaunched earlier this year. I've always been obsessed with their brow pencils as well as their liner, but we'll get to that later on. When it comes to feminizing the face and really altering your look, I think it's very important to look at yourself in the mirror and look at portions of your face that you want to enhance and portions that you want to kind of alter a bit more. Now, of course, yes, there are techniques to make your face look more feminized, but at the end of the day, every face is different and you may have other needs than other people out there. I feel like the main goal when you want to feminize the face is to create roundness, is to sort of flatten out all the harsh edges and soften the features. But again, that is totally a personal experience because when you look at me, I need structure. I'm a balloon. The first step, always, is primer. Not to prime is a crime. The next step is color correcting. We've pretty much all seen like the orange beards, the orange under eyes on Instagram and pretty much everywhere. I've done it myself as well. Color correction is used to cancel out shadows on the face. If you have a natural 5 o'clock shadow, if you use an orange color corrector, that will kind of neutralize the bluish, shadowish tones on the face. You should always do this before you do foundation or concealer so everything is neutralized. I'm taking the Dragon Beauty one and you only need, trust me when I say, the tiniest bit. You pretty much only want to neutralize those bluey, shadowy tones. I'm gonna do a little bit on the corner of my mouth here, a little bit here, just a little bit, you see, and under my eyes. And then using a brush, I'm softly gonna stipple that in, diffuse it. See, it's already too much, but that'll do. Under eye. Tap, tap, tap in. Now the number one trick to make sure that this stays in place and you're actually correcting and not smearing everything around once you go in with your concealer is take the tiniest bit of face powder on a puff, really work it into the puff, and lightly set the places you color corrected because what this will do is set the color correction in place so that when you go over it with your foundation and concealer, it doesn't drag out and lose its purpose. For foundation, I suggest going for a long wear, more mattifying foundation, because if you deal with a lot of texture on the skin, using a dewy foundation is only gonna highlight the texture, whereas if you use a matte, it's gonna blur it out a bit. I'm using the Juvia's Place I Am Magic foundation. I'm just gonna start bouncing this onto the skin, and you'll see that as soon as that foundation hits the skin, it takes away that orange and you are completely neutralized. See? Nice and even. This to me is so satisfying. Just canceling out the orange, but left with not a shadow in sight. If you're new to makeup, the number one thing you want to do with a beauty sponge and your foundation is tap the product in. As soon as you like smear it on, you're actually destroying all the pigment in that lovely product. So if you tap it on, you're gonna keep all the pigment, keep the coverage, and make it look flawless. Now, when it comes to concealer, it is very, very important to, again, assess your face, look at it, and see what your face needs. I personally think that if you keep everything a bit more towards the center of the face, it's gonna appear more feminine. If you are rounder like I am, you can get away with creating more like angles, but if you already are very structured and defined, I would go softer and keep it more towards the center of the face. So for under eye concealer, you can really build some up on the inner portion here. And then if you want to create more of that angle and that lift, you can apply some right here to the outer portion of the eye, underneath the mouth, towards the sides, top of the lip, center of the chin, and a bit on the center of the forehead to already start our highlighting process. Okay, so now let's bounce this in. When bouncing in your concealer, you wanna just tap at the product. You don't wanna necessarily move it around too much because you've strategically placed your concealer in the areas that you wanna lighten up. So now if I would drag it all across the face, the method behind lighting things up and making things look more highlighted will be destroyed. Once I tap in this concealer, it is key. It is very important to straight away set the under eye using loose powder. This to lock in the fantasy and make it long lasting for the rest of the day. So I give my entire face one last tap. I pick up some powder on my damp beauty sponge. The powder that I pick up, I really work into the sponge with the palm of my hand. And this is gonna go underneath the eye, down to the sides of the nose, corner of the mouth, and then bringing it back towards the eye. As for the rest of the face, I like to use a waterproof, long-lasting, very mattifying powder to get rid of all the texture, get rid of all the pores. This one is by Dermacolor. I just picked that up using my powder puff, and I set my entire face. Also very important, keep tapping that powder in. You don't want to swipe it in, swoop it in, brush it in. You want to tap it onto the skin to lock everything in place. Are we ready for the next step? Let's move on to brows. Brows are a super, super personal journey. I feel like back in the days, feminine brows were a bit thinner and more arched, whereas I feel like nowadays, like modern days, brows could be anything you like. Now, since I pretty much don't have any brow hair left, I like to create a full bushy fantasy with a little tiny bit of an arch. What is very important when it comes to the brows though is that they last. Oh, I remember the days back in high school when we had PE and someone rubbed their damn shoulder against my brow and the entire brow was gone. So you want a long lasting product that is budge proof, sweat proof, waterproof, and you can find that in the Cavity Vegan Beauty Super Pomades. These come in a bunch of colors. They come in neutral tones that are actually like brow colors, but they also come in funky colors like yellow, pink, purple, green, but also white. But the perfect thing about these is that they can be used anywhere on the face. You can use this for the brow, you can use this as a base for your eyeshadow, you can use this to cut the crease, eyeliner, you name it. So today I'm gonna use the Super Pomade by Cavity Vegan Beauty for my brows, and I'm using the color Taupe. Picking up the pomade on a Cavity Vegan Beauty number 70 brush, and with this, I just draw a line underneath my brow. And see how there's like the slightest arch? Like the slightest arch going on? I've had more arched brows, I've had thinner brows, bushier brows, and honestly, I've liked them all. But this is kind of like the stage of my brow where I'm comfortable with now, so. Okay, then you also obviously want to create a line at the top. Then using that same super pomade, I fill in the entire thing, and this will really make it long lasting because once this is set, it's not going anywhere. And then if you pick up a little bit more product and really pinch the bristles of the brush and make it super sharp, you can draw in individual hairs. Oh, I love it. Okay, I'm quickly gonna carve these out with concealer to get a nice, perfect, clean edge, and then let's move on to the eye. This is the eye we're gonna be creating today. It's very flirty, it's very neutral, it has a touch of smokiness. This is a look where I, myself, feel super confident in, I feel super feminine and powerful. The first thing we're gonna do is prime. For eyeshadow today, of course, I'm gonna be using my Baby. This is my palette in collaboration with Beauty Bay, and it just has all the colors you could dream of. The color I'm going in with is Mila, which is a warm medium brown. And overall, the shape you wanna go for is a more rounded, smoky eye. But again, try looking at your features, and if you have a rounder face, you can pull it up, and you can always, by the way, you can always pull it out and make it dramatic and create the shapes that you like. In general, if you want an eye to be a bit more feminine, you want to go for rounded shapes, blending it up into the crease while still keeping the shape very rounded. Okay, once that is on, I'm taking Mila and Basic Toots. I'm using this to create some depth on the front of the brow and in the crease here. Now, this is very personal if you like this or not. For me, I feel like it totally changes my look. It makes my eyes look a bit bigger. It makes my nose look smaller. Plus, if your eyes are closer together, I wouldn't do this necessarily. If your eyes are a bit wider apart, this is a great trick to make everything look a little bit more close together. You could totally pick up a chrome shade or a very shiny shade, but I want to keep things matte today. So I'm taking Basic Tools only, and that is going on that center of the lid that we haven't applied anything to yet. Basic Tools is pretty much my skin tone. So for me, it's gonna look very close to my skin color, but you can use whatever color you like on here. Okay, now I'm dipping into another KVD Vegan Beauty Super Pomade. This one is in the color Walnut, and I'm using this as a base for my liner. So I'm actually picking some up on my brush, and because they are so long wear, this is exactly what you want to use on your eyes to make it last. So I pick some up on my brush, and I'm just gonna buff it in close to the outer corner of my lashes. And you want to keep this super, super soft and fluffy just for a bit of shadow. They blend super easy, so these can be used on the brow as a base for shadow, as an actual eyeliner. And then I pick up some 5 AM and really go over top to make that perfect. And now I'm dipping into the KVD Vegan Beauty Tattoo Liner, a cult favorite. A lot of people are obsessed with this. They come in 2 colors. This is Trooper Black and Matte Max Brown, and I'm using Matte Max Brown today for my wing. There's 2 things you want to keep in mind when purchasing this. Before you use it, you really want to shake it up. And also what I like to do is store this upside down in my collection so that all the ink stays at the bottom at the bristles, and then once you use it, it's ready to go. And I like to apply a thin but confident winged liner to just give the eyes that little bit more flair, that extra touch. So you start off by drawing a line from the last sort of outer lash at the top, sort of like flicking that out almost as if it is a lash, and then you want to draw back into the lid. And the great thing is, this liner won't go anywhere until you take it off. I'm taking another super pomade. This time it's the color Bleach, and this time around I'm going to highlight my inner corners without it fading, because this can also be used as a shadow, like I said, and this will stay there all day. Now using the tattoo liner and extend the inner corner by creating a nice little point. It always makes me feel super, super confident, and it just gives that eye that extra sort of like flirtiness. I like nothing too extreme or too much, but just enough to sort of like pull out that inner corner a bit and give you that confidence. To me, it just pulls my eyes out and makes it more like, ooh. Now my #1 favorite trick for my eyes, and this always makes me feel super, super femme, is opening up that inner corner using a white liner. Today, I'm using another super pomade by KVD Vegan Beauty. This one is Whiteout, and I just draw a line like close to the black extension on the inner corner, and that just opens up the eyes in such a beautiful, flattering way. It's the best. Right here. Oh, I love it. This is like the one trick I can always pull when I just want to open up the eyes more and want to feel that feminine side, honey. So now it's time for lash. Now lashes are really important because I feel like if it's your goal to look more feminine and to get that female touch, I feel like wispiness and soft flutteriness is everything you want to go for. And what I also really think flatters the eyes and always makes me feel my oats, honey, is a couple of lower lashes, like individual lower lashes to get that extra bit of drama, but still have that fluffy fantasy. So I'm gonna pop my lashes on and pop 3 individuals on the bottom to get that flirty touch. And then let's move on to contouring. Okay, now it is time to contour and really start sculpting the face in the way you like it. Let me introduce you to your new best friend, bronzer and contour powder. Now, most of the time, foreheads for us tend to be a bit bigger. That's why a lot of us tend to choose for a hairline surgery where we lower everything, but makeup is really powerful too. I'm gonna say a couple of really controversial things now. Everyone is always so anti-shimmery bronzer that for years, when I saw a shimmery bronzer, I was like, ooh, no, ew, oh no, that is a no-no. Until I tried it out on my forehead and parts of my face, because I have a large and in charge forehead that for me is really difficult to contour because when I put too much product on, it looks muddy. Until I found this product right here. If you're around my skin color, this is by M Cosmetics. This is called Heaven's Glow Faded Clementine. This, I believe, is meant as a glowy blush or highlighter for most. On me, it's a bronzer. When I shape my forehead with this, it has enough shine to sort of like blend the edges and not make it look muddy, but it has enough mattness and strength to it to actually lower down and shrink my forehead a bit. So I take a big fluffy face brush and literally what I do is I start sort of dusting it around the hairline. So where my hairline is, I just kind of brush it around and start fading it in. And I'm not touching my face really harshly. I'm kind of like fluffing it over to get that warmth and that definition. This makes me look a bit more tan, like I've actually seen the sun, but most of all, it shrinks down that forehead and makes it look smaller in a natural way. You want to shape it almost like drag queens call this the beige rainbow. So sort of think of this portion right here being the lightest, smallest part of the rainbow, and then it just like goes up and it fades out to color. I also pick up this product a little bit and contour high up on my cheekbones. Usually people tell you to contour like following your mouth to your ear. That is going to be too low for us. I feel like it flatters us more if we go a bit higher up. So usually you would contour here, we're going to contour here. I just add in warmth. I'm not necessarily contouring yet. I'm just adding in warmth, but that already is giving me a bit of shape. If you think of it, if you keep all the lightness towards the center of the face, it gives it a softer appeal, whereas if you would leave this very like sharp, it would give you more like an intense feel. Okay, and I also pick up a little bit and just brush it onto the nose. From tip to the bridge, just on it as you go. Okay, now it is time for that extra definition. So now you wanna pick up a contour shade or a matte bronzer that leans towards the cooler side a bit more. And this is where I really go high up on that cheekbone and give myself that warmth and a bit more of that depth. And the number one trick to finding the places where contour suits your face is if you talk, you naturally have shadows coming. For me, when I talk, my shadows happen here. So this would be a great part of your face to naturally give a bit more depth because it just flows with the face beautifully. I keep talking, and where I see the shadow, I just kind of brush in some of that bronzer / contour powder, and it just kind of flows with the face and gives you that extra like, ooh, skinny queen. The jawline is really important because if you have a stronger jawline, you wanna bring it in and make it softer. If you're open to it, getting Botox done in your jawline will soften the jaw. If you have a very strong jaw muscle, putting Botox in that will slim it down and cool it down a bit and make it less broad. Plus, if you're grinding your teeth at night, that will rest that puppy down. If you're open to it, I'm not saying you should get this, but if you're open to it, know that that is an option. Now, if your jaw is stronger, which mine clearly is not, I suggest putting your contour right on that sort of sharp edge here, put your contour right above it in a rounded manner to keep things very soft. Now for me, because I pretty much don't have a jaw, I create one by going underneath my actual jaw with that powder, underneath it, all the way towards the ear. See? I just go underneath the bone and blend it out downwards, and it creates that shape for me. Oh mama, yes, we're contoured. And nose contouring, I used to struggle with it for years, but trust me, this is the easiest fail-proof technique there is. You wanna take that powder again and just bronze your nose like completely. But then you wanna take your face powder and a dry beauty sponge, pick up that face powder that should have quite a bit of coverage to it, and carve out the sides. And in this step, you can really make your nose as pinched or as wide as you like it. And then also do the bridge of the nose with that powder. And now with a big fluffy face brush, you're just gonna sort of tickle the edges of where the colors meet to soften the harshness. And that will leave you with the perfectly contoured nose that totally suits your face, and you're totally in control. For blush, I'm dipping into my palette and picking up Zomer, and for blush, it's really the same story. Look at your face, look at what you like. I just always kind of marry my blush into the bronzer back there, because again, I feel like if I put it more towards the side, optically, it's gonna pull my face inwards a bit more. And blush on the tip of the nose always is a good option. It ties everything together. Plus, it makes the nose look a little bit shorter and buttony. Then for highlighter, oh my God, this is always my favorite moment. I pick up a little bit of my favorite highlighter at the moment. You just want to intensify the highlight you already see going on. So it would be weird to like put all the highlighter here because you're desperately trying to create that illusion. I go on that area and give it some shine. And I always like smiling really big and giving the apples of my cheeks a nice glisten, because it just makes you look very healthy and awake. And to really convince people of the fantasy of your now pinched nose, you wanna highlight the very tip of your nose right here. Create a little ball of light. And my favorite, all-time favorite place to highlight is the bridge of the nose right here. This just completes the look and ties it together with the entire face. It's my favorite thing to do. As for lips, it is totally up to you what you prefer. I am a sucker for a lined, glossy, nude lip. So when I look at myself and I look at my lips, there's a natural sort of lightness surrounding the lip. That is a portion you can always line to make the lips look fuller and staying within like the safe boundaries before like going too far. So see how I have that white line and I put my liner like right above it. This is about as far as you can go naturally plumping up those lips. And it always helps to like fade in the edges towards the side of the mouth, like right here, to create more optical illusion of plump. See how this like fades in more, gives more like a pout. Then I'm gonna take a nice nude liquid lipstick for that long wear, beautiful nudeness. Okay, and then a nice nude peachy gloss on top. This one is by Artist Couture in the color Thirst Trap. Oh, I love their glosses and I love this new color. I actually do have a discount code with Artist Couture, so if you wanna save some money, honey, use discount code Nikki at checkout. That gloss is everything. And last but certainly not least, it is now time for setting spray to transform that matte skin back into gorgeous, radiant looking skin. And today I'm using the Morphe one. And that, my glow babies, is one of the many ways to feminizing the face or just simply feeling more confident with a layer of makeup on. There are tons of other Rainbow Family members here on YouTube who have done videos like this, and I highly suggest you checking them out so you can garner all the info, all the tips and tricks, and then come up with the perfect routine for you. But at the end of the day, please don't forget that you are beautiful just the way you are. I hope some of these tricks have been helpful to you, and now without any further ado, let's go on to the Dutch word of the day. As always, I want to thank you so much for commenting the Dutch word of the day in my previous video. As for today's Dutch word of the day, with my coming out earlier this year and with videos like this today and videos like these that other creators are doing, we're really fighting for more acceptance. So today's Dutch word of the day is for acceptance. Acceptatie. Acceptatie. Together, we will fight for more acceptatie. As always, if you want to get featured in my next video, all you have to do is leave the Dutch word of the day down below in the comments. Don't forget to give this video a big thumbs up if you enjoyed it, subscribe to my channel, and don't forget to ring the bell icon so you get notified every time I upload a brand new video. I want to thank you so much for watching. This was very, very special to me. Thank you for tuning in and sticking all the way through. I love you, and hopefully I will see you guys on the next one.